You want to know but plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel FM 107.3 for Citizen Health Watch. Citizen Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Fambul Adu, and welcome to this edition of the program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio na Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. Inside today's program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zaina Barman Siri. And for can help we talk about this, I get with me Joe Bonge, the Executive Director, the Young Volunteers for the Environment. The Young Volunteers for the Environment na a Gambian registered organization for young people where they talk about things like energy, climate change and other natural resources na the environment.
Well, we are a research, advocacy and development organization. With regards to access to basic energy, we know that government can definitely not able to provide energy for an entire country in Africa. Very rare. So what we are advocating is for an alternative of energy. We know we are blessed with the sun, we have water, so what we're saying to the government is how about you have an alternative energy and deviate from fossil fuel, which the globe is actually fighting climate change, global warming. So fossil fuel is actually one factor of global warming, that is heavy petroleum that we use for our generators, which is obviously not healthy for man and environment. So like in Gambia, we are actually advocating for introduction of solars, whereby some villages, you don't need to take generators there. Provide them solar panels, which they cannot afford in most cases, but you can actually create a payment scale whereby they can actually pay gradually. We're also actually advocating for a very cleaner energy, maybe a windmill. So we are also promoting the use of clean cook stoves. We realize that a lot of villages, they bank on their forests for their livelihood. They cut down trees, for firewood. And so in Gambia, we're actually introducing the clean cook stove to local people at a very cheap price, which they necessarily don't need to actually cut down forests as it should be. And also we are introducing the charcoal briquette made out of waste and also organic compost as well to actually deviate from chemical fertilizers as well. So with the water sanitation and hygiene as well, we are actually advocating for access to clean water. We know that most often government will celebrate numbers of access to water, leaving people behind. In reality, when you go, it is something that is not in real. Like in Sierra Leone, I see a lot of people battling to have clean water in the town. So you'll see that these are things that should go away because we should have an innovative way of providing clean water. These are basic necessities that should not be a problem to us because the developed countries have gone way far from that. So, as a civil society organization, these are the things that we promote, the basic necessities of human rights.
Okay, so what can you say are the risk factors associated with the forest exposure and the use of gases like you mentioned?
Well, the effects, basically, I see when I arrive in Sierra Leone, I know it has a lot of mountains, but I also see that the forest cover on the mountains are all been cut. All I see is story buildings. People are just building haphazardly like that. So I keep asking my colleagues, are there not regulation and plans of housing in this country? And you see people building close to the road, which is very dangerous. And you see people building on waterways of canals where water should pass. So I start envisioning the disaster that is to come on them, because when you study environmental impact or you conduct environmental impact assessment in this country, disaster awaits. And I think Sierra Leone had faced landslide also, something like that. Yeah. So what is happening here is, in the long run, which we are also feeling the heat right now. Like the forest cover, the effects of climate change will hit Sierra Leone very hardly if nothing is done now. We have to plant more trees. We have to make sure that our forest cover is kept for medicine and for our health as well. And most of the trees that they are cutting are almost extinct, and we may not able to recover them anymore. You'll never see them again. Like in Gambia right now, one of our wood is almost to extinct by the Chinese, called the rosewood, which is globally talked about in news. Civil society are fighting very hard, and there is a law right now banning the illegal, expectation of that tree. So Sierra Leone is a beautiful country, but it's only beautiful when it goes green, because the world economy is diverting to be a green economy. And if your country is not green, you can't match in the future. You can be part of the future of the green economy.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio in Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside the program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zaina Bamansre. And for can help we talk about this, I get Jobonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization. Well, the Young Volunteers for the Environment na a Gambian registered organization for young people where they in about 25 African countries And the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization, they talk about things like energy, climate change, and natural resources So now let's talk about the other dangers like the burning of this charcoal that you mentioned. Most times when these charcoal are being burnt, you see black smokes and then let's talk about those chemicals. What are the harmful effects of those chemicals and how do they relate to the health of individuals?
Well, basically, most time when local people engage themselves in charcoal making, you realize that there is absolutely no protective gears. They're very exposed to most of this smoke. Like these smokes, most time could really affect their lungs. There is a lot of effects when it comes to lung cancer. You see it a lot of the time. And also the other effects is it affects their livelihood, because you'll see that they keep switching from one forest to the other. And at the end of the day, it brings conflict among villages. It's like you finish your part of the forest and you want to jump on mine. And so with regards to the health also, the health of children are really affected as well. You could see that in most time, the way they do this burning of charcoal, they use a lot of chemicals to get the flame on. And these chemicals most time could really give them even cancer, a lot of diseases that they can actually get out of the smoke as well. The other thing is as well is for children in most time, how they are affected is it actually affects their growth as a child going towards, growing as an adulthood. How does it affect them? In most cases is through this cutting down of trees. Most time medicinal trees are being cut down out of the interest of their economic gains. So most time local people don't take account of the extinction of most of these plants that they cut down. So you realize that most time also they go through a lot of sicknesses and ailment without knowing that their activities of destruction of this forest and also their activities within their environment is a factor to what exactly that they do, which affect their entire health cycle.
All right. So, talking about chemicals now, globally, lead has been identified as the most dangerous chemical that is basically in our midst. So, can you please tell us a bit about this lead description and how is it dangerous?
Lead is listed as one of the 10 most dangerous chemicals according to WHO. Lead is a toxic heavy metal that actually accumulates in the human body, and it could cause you to have hypertension, stroke, and for children, it makes them to underperform and reduce their IQ as well. And for pregnant women, it actually could cause you give birth to a disabled child or a child who is malfunctioning as well. And basically, it damages your liver, your reproductive health cycle, your brain, and many component part of the human body. That is why scientists term it as a dangerous chemical. So it's a pigment that is applied in most of the things that we use. For example, lead is added in paint because of its strongness and its shininess. And if you look at Africa, we are so exposed to lead chemical in many areas. And lead chemical in paint basically was banned 42 years ago by developed countries, and it's been imported still in Africa. And some African countries do have banned it, and there is a regulation. But I don't know for Sierra Leone much, but I can tell in Gambia, we have no laws, no regulation that ban the sales, use, and importation and exportation of paint. So we don't produce paint in Gambia, but we import paints into the country.
You want to know but plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you gist the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio in Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside today program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zainaba Mansari. And for can help we talk about this, I get Jobonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization. Okay, so when you say paint, is it the paints that we use to paint our houses?
To make it simple, we're talking about oil paint. Water paint is safe, but oil paint is dangerous. The WHO set up an alliance with UNEP called the Global Alliance to Eliminate Lead in Paint. And they set up a standard, and the standard of paints, which they said is 90 parts per million, that countries should put regulation. The regulation should be the limit of lead in paint should be 90 parts per million. But scientists also make it clear that there is no safe level of lead in paint. And lead is also applied in toys of children. Most of the toys that our children play with is coated with lead. And most of the pencils that we use in universities, in colleges, in schools are coated with lead.
So is that not a health risk?
It's health risk. It causes cancer. And lead has caused millions of deaths globally. And cosmetics women use, lead is applied in cosmetics. That is why you see a lot of cancer of the skin, so many cancers happening because of the harmful hazardous chemical used on these things. And the other thing is lead also, in most cases, children are more exposed to it because even their playing grounds, lead is used there. In their schools, lead is used there. And you could see that in most of our homes, they are painted with lead.
So, as an advocate, how would you recommend for people to use paint, the oil paint, or what can you say to people?
Well, basically in Gambia, I think Sierra Leone haven't done. In fact, we want to introduce that in Sierra Leone right now through the civil society we're working with. Probably NASEM and Youth Alliance Sierra Leone will sooner or later conduct a research on the entire paint in Sierra Leone. In Gambia, I did the research through my organization in partnership with the Swedish government, UNEP, and WHO, and also IPEN. We did a study, and 80% of the pins in the Gambia are highly dangerous. The highest content we find in our pins is 100,000 parts per million. Remember, the global standard is 90 parts per million, but we found 100,000 lead content in our pins. So 80% of the Gambian imported pins are not safe. And now we are promoting the use of water paint. Water paint is lead-free, which is safe. So out to the public out there, I am encouraging you, stop painting your homes with oil paint. Paint your homes with water paint. There are beautiful water paints out there to save your family and children. Go for water paint.
Our people will also say that I want my house to shine. So I prefer to use the oil paint for my house to look beautiful than to use the water paint.
Yeah, you look beautiful, you die early. In fact, water paints, all modern houses now, hotels you go globally, they don't paint oil paint. They paint water paint. There are good, beautiful water paint. I'm not saying you go buy whitewash, not whitewash. I'm telling you there are good colored water paints, which is safe, you can breathe, and you could feel when even it's hot outside, you don't feel the heat. But you see in our homes now, currently, you see a lot of homes painted with oil paint. You barely cannot even sleep in that house. You inhale that chemical day in, day out. And when they get old, those scraps of the paint falls off and children eat it. And this is harmful. And also, I want to come back to the quotation. Lead paint also is used on our taps, water pipes, our water taps. You see the head we use, the water head, is coated with lead paint. So you see that waters we drink, when that tap got rust, the pigment falls off and it goes in our water. And we drink these things. And that is why you see now life is no more very long.
So basically, what can be the alternatives to this? Because for Sierra Leone, we see all of our taps, it's that kind of, metal thing. So we don't have any tap that is, I've not seen any tap that is, rubber or other things. So what can be the alternative to that?
Well, in Gambia right now, through support from World Bank, we are changing, advocacy is very strong. That is why in Sierra Leone, when I met the partners, the stakeholders, I emphasized, let's close the gap between journalists, government, and the civil society. Because if those gaps are there, meaningful development cannot come into this country. But when you close those gaps, they become friends, working hand in glove, complementing each other. Because the development of civil society and the journalists or the media is geared towards complementing government effort. So you'll see that in Gambia right now, all the major boreholes, pipes that is supplying homes, they have been changed. They have been changed to stainless pipes. So our homes, alternatively, your question is what could be the alternative? Get a stainless water pump head.
Okay.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio in Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside the program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zainaba Mansari. And for can help we talk about this, I get Jobonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization. So now talking about the other item on the list, which is waste management. What is your observation in Sierra Leone? How can you rate the level of waste management compared to that of Gambia?
Well, I think waste is a global problem. In fact, Africa is the worst. In fact, so many countries in Africa are even taking aid in exchange of Western waste. They put them in container, send them here. That is the second-hand goods. When you have a container, maybe only 20% of those goods are good, but the 80 all goes back to our waste landfills. So you see that in Gambia, we are battling with waste, but some countries in Africa are really, really doing well. They are turning waste to wealth. In fact, developed countries, they turn waste to wealth. Some are doing into recycling.
Okay.
Recycling, they are doing recycling on waste. Some are using their waste to provide energy, power, light, and so on to their people as an alternative, source. Some are using waste as a biofuel. Instead of petrol, gasoline, they use biofuel. So it all comes back, how innovative is your country in terms of turning waste to wealth? When I came to Sierra Leone this time, what I observed is I saw a lot of plastics. Plastic is one of the biggest pollutant in the entire world. And when I went to the beaches of Sierra Leone, I see how beautiful, more than the Canary Islands. But I also saw that, there is no much being done. So the ecotourism is weak, and there's a lot of influx of plastics. In fact, plastics welcome you in many areas you go in Sierra Leone. And people's attitude and behavior towards the environment is really bad. You see, a lot of people don't care. They just throw things anyhow. They don't care how it's been solved. And I know municipal council are responsible for all this waste, but they cannot take it all. So, we coming back, waste management starts from individual to homes, to the streets, and to the entire country. When your country is dirty and your home is clean, you are not clean.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio in Radio Mount Orel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside the program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zaina Bamansre. And for can help we talk about this, I get Joe Bonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization. Now not time for news. After the news, we come back and continue with the program.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, welcome to the second half of the program, CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio in Radio Mount Orel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. Inside today's program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zaina Bamansre. And for can help we talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects, I get with me Joe Bonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment. Well, the Young Volunteers for the Environment na a Gambian registered organization for young people where they na about 25 African countries them. And the Young Volunteers for the Environment organization, they talk about things like energy, climate change, and natural resources them.
But most Sierra Unions, for instance, blame government. They are expecting government to put things in place to go to clean places like those plastics you are talking about.
Well, plastic in Gambia, single-use plastic, is being banned. We advocate for it in 2015. It was banned. So what we did is those plastic that we are remaining were all recycled to artistical products and something else. Okay? So government alone cannot manage waste. That's the reality. There are so many challenges of this country that government is looking at. But also, citizens have equal responsibility in protecting, preserving, and nurturing the country. So that is why when it comes to waste management, it is often said that it starts from individual. So how do we support government? Because government is us, and us is the government. So when the government fails, the country fails. And when the country fails, you feel ashamed to talk about your country when you go out. You envy other countries. But those countries you envy, the citizens contributed towards the development of that particular country. So we have to change our attitudes, we have to change our behaviors, and we have to make sure that whenever we think about country, it has to start from us.
And maybe someone will also want to say that government has a responsibility like providing sanitation services.
Well, sanitation services, yes, is the responsibility of the government, but also, like I said earlier on, government cannot do it alone. Development is actually a collective effort. As an individual, group of individuals, stakeholders, that is why government advocate for partnership. Because there is no meaningful development in a particular country without partnership. So even if government is going to offer services on sanitation, but cannot reach out to the entire country. That is why we have civil society groups. That is why we have so many groups. So we have to look among ourselves and support each other and come in different areas, because every region in this country have its own issue. Some region, they are not affected by waste. They manage their waste by themselves. So you have to look inwards in your environment. What is really my main challenge here? How do I start something? Before you ask your government to support you, start something and say, government, this is what I can do my bits. Help me with A, B, C, and D. Probably government might not give you directly the funds, but might avail you the opportunities out there. Because government is funded by donors as well. So for me, basically, it all comes back to individual expectations, attitude, and behavior when it comes to sanitation, water, and so. I know it is a responsibility of government to provide all basic services because we are paying tax for it.
Okay, so how do you think that your movement will influence the minds of Sierra Leoneans in light of all of these things that we have mentioned?
Well, change is actually gradual. So we are trying to change the mindset of young people to have a shift in terms of thinking, in terms of responding or reacting to the environment or development as well. So what we do is we take best practices of developed African countries, share them as case studies, put them in that situation to know the historic development of those particular countries without their government. So those countries they envy is what we inspire them with, and making them believe that they could do the same in their country, Sierra Leone, knowing very well that Sierra Leone is far better than so many countries that they envy, because it has all it takes to be the giant of Africa or even the giant of development in the world. That is why I said in my earlier statement that it takes some time, but we are actually on the process of engaging them and planning to have series of capacity building, inspire them with lot of case studies that has really worked with other countries, and also engage them also to acquire skills and knowledge on how to be more innovative and how to be more constructive and how to be more responsible, because these are things that you need to actually bring about change in terms of development in your country. Because if you don't know what you are worth of, you can never actually display your talent and what you are able to do for your country and for yourself.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel. FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio na Radio Mount Oil, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside today program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zainab Bamansri. And for can help we talk about this, I get Joe Bonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization.
And now, do you think that your activities will help build a sustainable environment in Sierra Leone?
Well, it's a start, and I am very optimistic that working in partnership with government and other stakeholders, the paradigm shift of the mindset of people will actually change. And we believe in the strategy and philosophy we bring in Sierra Leone, and we're looking forward to see back all these mountains to have covered with green trees and forests. And it's very sad to see even homes in Sierra Leone, very hardly you see flowers. Everybody wants to go on concrete. But we believe that young people of Sierra Leone are going to take charge of these initiatives, not us coming in, but young people will take charge, and we believe that they will respond, and we believe that they will reject to be political tools for politicians, but they will take ownership of their own future and making sure that they create a safe space for the next generation coming, and they will, for sure, create that sustainable environment that Sierra Leone was having before in the 60s, in the 70s, to see a modern Sierra Leone that will usher in the world rushing in for Sierra Leone instead of Sierra Leone young people rushing out to countries that they envy.
So you keep emphasizing trees and flowers in homes. What is the major function of those trees to the human being?
Well, actually, trees save us from pollution by toxic atmosphere. We know that the activities of humans within our environment, we are very exposed to chemicals. With trees, with flowers, it helps to absorb most of these chemical effects that could be harmful to us as well. And coming back to natural fresh air, we know that the AC, the fan cannot follow us in the street. But with trees, with flowers, we will be able to have that conducive atmosphere outside to interact and to have this healthy, safe environment whereby we're able to directly interact. And this is happiness. But when you have no trees, no flowers, you realize that there is a lot of disgrunt among people because just the weather, the heat weather, will give you a frustrated look. All you want is just to have this conducive environment to keep calm. So we are actually advocating for homes to start planting trees, to have flowers, and also to see how the city will be green. My friend was telling me there were trees on the road, but it could not be sustained. In fact, now they forgo those trees. They put cement there since people attitude are not actually responding to those trees. But I think we have to keep doing the awareness raising about the importance of trees, the importance of having our environment green. So I think a lot of awareness should be done and a lot of advocacy because our unborn children need them. If not, we will evacuate and leave Sierra Leone and go for even China, which is one of the biggest pollutants with India and America. They regretted why they damaged their forest covers. Right now, if you go to China, there are cities that they are greening their rooms, their balconies. In fact, right now, they put a lot of laws about their trees cover. They are replanting a new generation of trees. But Africa are not learning. In China, the atmosphere is murky. Sometimes you see dark clouds. They are always on marks even before COVID. because of the dangers.
Maybe we are learning, but it's just a matter of negligence or finding excuses, like people saying charcoal burning is my source of livelihood. If I don't do it, then I don't have something to eat.
Absolutely. This is what we are actually talking about. Most people are affected because they use their livelihood. But also come to think about it. You cannot actually grow your economic gains at the detriment of yourself, your children, and a nation. This is what we're talking about. Are you having money? You're not healthy. Your country health service cannot help you to be healed. It makes no sense. So it is best you safeguard yourself and actually see an alternative way of having your livelihood. And that is why we are saying government needs to step up, young people needs to take charge, and also civil society organizations should actually adhere to their agenda and plans and make sure that there is this strict monitoring. And you talk about people are ignorant. We know that in Africa, most people that are put in power or people that are put in authority most time are ignorant of people or fear that they will rise against them. But the issue is we need to go away from all these things, because whatever mandate is given to you, you're going to account for it when you die, you like it or not. What we always do in Gambia is we will tell you that you are a true representation of God in the lives of people. That's why you were voted in, that's why you were selected, that's why you were appointed. So you have to don't think about yourself or your selfish gain. Think about the people. Probably the people might be ignorant because of lack of awareness. You know about the dangers. Press on, raise their awareness, engage them, give them examples of all these dangers, and make them believe an alternative is there in terms of saving their lives, in terms of improving their ecosystem, in terms of responding in the sustainable development of the nation.
Okay.
You want to know but plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio na Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside today program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zainaba Mansari. And for can help we talk about this, I get Joe Bonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization.
So, Joe, how sustainable will your movement be in Sierra Leone? Because most times we see people coming in with that zeal, with that zest, with that energy, but then they stay a while and then they go, and then they leave nothing. So, how sustainable will your movement be?
Well, like I said, the movement is not a local movement in Sierra Leone. It's a Pan-African youth movement that had been there for many years. And they have an accreditation with many UN Convention Secretariat, and the movement is growing, and probably most organizations are not sustained in local African context because it is a local design organization whereby it's registered by one person, and when that person grow a bit and the organization dies and say, okay, now I have grown. But this is a network that is there with board members and meets annually for international AGM, and at the local level, the national organization also conducts periodic reporting and also have their national AGMs as well. You could see that it's been monitored, supervised, and also directed from the international level. So you'll see that each country compete. So how we're going to sustain it is we will keep inspiring the organization in Sierra Leone, giving them the necessary support, because most time in Africa, organization dies because of lack of funds, because like maybe Zainab had been in this organization for many years, and the mom will be like, stop volunteering, you are growing old now, so you realize that this kills organizations. But like the network share resources, the network also lobby resources on behalf of countries. And the network also, like Joe can be the co-founder of Sierra Leone, but Joe might not be there in the next year. So there is rotational of leadership and competition, and that makes the organization unique. In fact, we are even planning on having directors going to other countries. Maybe Gambia country director, when your term finish, you will be the director in Sierra Leone. And maybe Sierra Leone director will go to Liberia, So you'll see that when I come to Sierra Leone from Gambia, I will want to leave a legacy. So that's the unique feature about, this whole network. And every country will like to actually boost up its legacy within the movement. So I think we're very optimistic that this organization will be sustained because we're going to have the support of the grassroots organization, because we are not going to implement. We are going to give resources and support to those who needs it. And we will be the national coordinating organization in the country. That is why we're going to set up a secretariat. They will not implement, but they will monitor and supervise the implementation by other local NGOs within the region.
All right.
You want to know about plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for CTN Health Watch. CTN Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Listener, if you just the twinning, not forget say this na your program CTN's Health Watch, where they reach you from a studio na Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Abbey College. And inside the program, we dey talk about chemical properties, well body, and the environmental effects. Me where they make the program reach you, my name na Zainaba Mansari. And for can help we talk about this, I get Joe Bonge, the Executive Director for the Young Volunteers for the Environment Organization.
So what would be your word to the people of Sierra Leone, the government, in relation to environment, health, sanitation, and waste management? What would be your word to them?
Well, my message to the government will be, believe in your young people, invest in them, create safe space for them, engage them in policy making, in decision making, and also inculcate their interests in all national development framework. Because without the youth, without young people, there will be no meaningful development in Sierra Leone. And they should desist using young people as a political tool, but give them the rightful position that they can actually play their meaningful role in terms of complementing government efforts or whatever stakeholder or group. And to young people, my advice is for them to believe in themselves and to believe that everybody was born with a gift. And there is something unique about you that you can invest in your country and on yourself. And should go away of being a seeker, but a creator. Okay? Young people should also, desist from, destroying themselves, but they should form a united front that will really push, collective interests, but not individual interests. And as a country, also, I encourage the people of Sierra Leone. They're nice people. They're loving people. Sierra Leone is rich. Sierra Leone is blessed. The poverty in Sierra Leone is created. It's not God poverty. No poverty is from God. So they need to be united. Put away tribe, party, put away all the, grudges. Come together, and Sierra Leone will be the most envious country that all country will want to rush to. Because globally, it's very interesting to know that Sierra Leone is termed as the reservoir of the world. When the world go out of scarce resources, Sierra Leone will supply the whole world. with just Sierra Leone, Africa will be the best continent. So if one country has it all on behalf of the whole world, think about the Sierra Leoneans. Love yourself, be united, and create that peaceful coexistence among yourself. And believe me, if that happens, absolutely will be the heavens.
That's Abenjo Bonge, the Executive Director, Young People for the Environment Organization.
You want to know but plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Citizen Health Watch. Citizen Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.
Well, now so I go draw the cutting down for today's Citizen Health Watch program. Plenty thank you for one who join me in the program. In case you miss part of the entire program, tune in again Monday afternoon for a repeat broadcast. Me we don't make the program reach you. My name na Zainaba Mansari. They say tata.
You want to know but plenty sick them or well body business? Join Zanaba Mansari every Sunday after the 6:30 news summary and on Monday after the 12 o'clock news on Radio Mount Oriel, FM 107.3 for Citizen Health Watch. Citizen Health Watch, your well body program.
This na CTN.